and welcome to Command Center, your video game book club podcast. My name is Daniel, and with me is...
a bag of human flesh containing nothing but concentrated flu virus and the remnants of consumed hulls. Nate Lamb.
And...
me, Jay.
I grossed you out with that, didn't I?
It just confused me. Yeah.
More your like physical appearance, more than what you said. I think. I'm sick too. We're both sick. Me and Nate are both sick. I was sick first, and now I'm on the ass end of it.
There's some joke about it being Montezuma's revenge of an illness because it's attacked you, half Irish, and me, pretty much generic white guy. Meanwhile, our Puerto Rican buddy is completely fine, and the Mexican half of you seems okay.
I was going to say, only half of him got sick.
Yeah, I seem pretty sick. You seemed like a little sick.
I was about to say, yeah, you seem a lot worse than...
Yeah. Well, and... so you live with him. The height of your sickness was the night after Nick's. So you were already unconscious because you went straight to bed when you got home. How bad was it the other day?
I was pretty bad. The day I took off of work, I was terrible. Mm-hmm. That's why I took off of work.
Yeah,
I couldn't breathe. It was bad.
I tried to do that today, but no rest for the wicked.
This is boring. We ever play a video game, guys?
Video games.
We were supposed to play a fucking video game? I've just been jacking it to hentai all month.
It wasn't really a video game. It was more of like a novel you play. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.
I don't know about a novel, but...
It was, I mean, I like that analysis because it was like, it wasn't...
like an anal system.
There's a word for him. It's like,
it's like a video manga.
A visual novel. It's called a visual novel.
Yeah, there you go. That.
All right, everybody
Is this classified as a visual novel? I don't know.
I would say so. I mean, it fits all the descriptions of what I read for 5 minutes before we started this podcast.
It was definitely on rails. I didn't get enough time, so I did play it a lot, but I didn't give it trying to run through a case where you don't have all the evidence. Every case I was in, like it would kind of stop you from advancing. Like if you needed a piece of evidence in a place, you could move around, but it was obvious that you were still looking for more evidence.
Yeah,
so it always make sure you had the right. You were on rails. All you could do is fail, which just brought you back to just before you had failed.
Well, let me just stop you there. Let me get your initial reactions to the game before we really delve into it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What did you think, Jay?
Well, speaking as the only one who actually
played a whole game,
played all of one of them at least. Sorry.
Keeping with the motif.
To keep in context even more so, we were picking Ace Attorney thinking because WoW Classic was coming out, I wasn't going to play it because I just putting up a stand. I just like, even though I'd probably love it, I just did not feel like
on that
putting
one.
up.
I don't need to
just
put
being
more of my life into WoW.
Yeah, exactly. And I just didn't feel like putting up another subscription. If it was free, they would have had me.
They had enough nights.
That's another argument for another time. That's another argument for another time. Anyways, so one of our co-hosts indulged in playing in some WoW Classic.
Yeah, I said in the last episode I was going to play WoW Classic, and I kept my fucking word.
He's got burns. Fine. He's got burns on his lip from the WoW crack pipe.
Yeah, I'd rather be doing something else right now.
Playing WoW.
Well, I haven't been crazy about it. I'm only level 21 after a whole month.
All right, anyway, let's not go back into that.
It's the 24th. We release on the 28th. He probably won't get that done in time. It'll be all WoW up until then.
Anyways, so we picked this game because we thought it was going to be short and we could finish it on time.
We was wrong.
In hindsight,
well, no, I mean,
looking at the title as like a trilogy, we probably should have known.
Well, but we were each going to play one. They were supposed to be a little bit shorter. They were a little bit longer.
Not initially. That was later on that we were going to do that. Initially, we were just going to play all three, thinking that they're short games because, like you said, they're like it's a visual novel. How long could it fucking be?
To be fair, in my defense, I found this out in my research. I played what I thought was Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney on my DS. I played Apollo something Ace Attorney, and it was like a spin-off. It's supposed to be like a protege of Phoenix Wright, and this guy's named Apollo. I forget his last name. Apollo Justice. Ace Attorney.
Really?
Yeah. I played that one, and that one I finished on a 3-hour plane trip. So I thought it was going to be like that.
So oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, so I thought you played the first one on
So did
DS.
I. Okay, I was wrong.
So you didn't even play as Ace?
Yeah, you play as a different guy.
As Ace. As Phoenix.
Yeah, you play as a different guy who was his understudy.
Okay.
How was it? Well, no, it's a different game. What am I talking about? Never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, how was it different?
I mean, it was a while ago that I played it. It was the same exact gameplay. The only difference that I saw was with the DS, with the touchscreen, you have the touchscreen capabilities of things that you could do like that. Other than that, same exact thing, just different characters.
Didn't you say that? Because I was just reading about it as well, that you could, like, yell objection and shit.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
so
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
on the DS, whenever you wanted to object, you could actually yell at the DS and say, objection! Or you could just yell anything. Or you could just blow into the speakers.
Or the guy
Which
next
I
to you
did.
on the plane could sneeze, and suddenly you have to present
Oh,
evidence.
that old, hey, you Pikachu technology.
Exactly. Everything comes full circle. But
Jesus.
you
Hey,
liked it, Jay?
Pikachu.
Huh?
You liked it?
Oh my god, I love this fucking game, dude. I'm probably gonna keep on playing, even though. So like, I finished the first game. I finished the first game. I finished the first trial, which was pretty standard. And then I got like up to the second trial. I didn't finish that trial. I was like probably
On the
halfway-
second game.
In the second game, and then I obviously didn't touch the third game. But I'm probably gonna play it all. I loved
Fair
it
enough.
right off the bat. I was kind of deterred because of how, like, what you were saying before about it is kind of on the rails. I was thinking more along the lines it was going to be like LA Noire.
Yeah.
But in some instances, at least, because in LA Noire, you're playing a detective. So they leave that aspect of where there's shit you can forget during the, like, investigation mode.
Right.
But in this, since you're actually an attorney, the shit that you can forget and fuck up is more during the actual
the trial. Or trying to figure out, like, the big thing for me that I really enjoyed about, but I also hated viscerally about the game was, I know these 3 pieces of evidence are key to my case, but I have to figure out when to present them. Like, that you can't, and it's kind of true as a defense attorney, maybe, I don't know dick, but like you had to wait until something came up where you could present your evidence. You couldn't
I think it makes it from all my Law and Order watching.
From my days on the force watching NCIS.
That too. I watched them all.
Yeah, everybody did.
Nate, you liked the game?
I think so. I played it on PC. Jay played it on the Switch.
Yeah, I played
and
it
I
on the
think
Switch.
on a handheld, it's kind of like Fallout 3. I loved on the Xbox. Gears, I loved on the Xbox. When I play them on PC, when I play Halo on PC, I find myself bored because it doesn't fully utilize all the interactivity of a computer. Had I played it on a handheld, I think I would have liked it a lot more. Playing it on the PC, it required just enough attention that I couldn't watch baseball in the background, and didn't require enough of my attention to keep me enraptured. So if you have it, like if you got a long plane ride and you got a DS or SP or whatever Nintendo game handheld is out now, grab it. It was enjoyable. It was a novel. It was good.
Yeah, and we were talking about this beforehand, even though we shouldn't have.
Save the content.
What I loved about playing with on the Switch was like, the fact that you hated about it was, well, not essentially hated, but it was like you had to pay attention to it while you wanted to do other stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't care. It made like how many times did you find me just like sitting in my room, like maybe not even the lights on, or I'm just lying in bed, the TV's off, and I'm just playing this game on the Switch. Like I barely played this game plugged in on the TV.
There was a game on the SP, the Game Boy SP. I can't remember what it was. It was an RPG where Luigi was the main character, but it wasn't Luigi's Mansion. Mario came in later, but it was the same sort of deal where it was on my SP, the old folding one that came out after and I loved it because the whole game, the whole universe was in my hand, and I could stop and set it down. Whereas with a computer, I'm sitting at a desk, the screen there's things moving around, and whereas like with a handheld, you can go lay down in bed, you can sit in a bathtub and just play it. You can do whatever, and it comes with you, and it's something about that aspect of a mobile game is so much more enrapturing when it is on a mobile platform versus a laptop or a desktop where you're sitting in front of it.
Do you take a lot of baths?
When I was in college, it was the summer after freshman year. Every night I would get off Pita Pit at 4 a.m., go home. I'd smell like grease and nastiness. I'd run a bath, put a towel under the door, smoke a bowl, and play this game until literally heard my dad leaving for work at 7 a.m. He would come out, and I'd be so afraid he was going to catch me. I would then stay in the bath till 9 a.m. when he left, going to bed very pruny, waking up at 3 p.m., going back to work, and working all night again.
That's a really sad story.
I loved it. But in hindsight, I think I loved it because I was getting stoned and playing video games every night while working a menial job, and I was still in college.
Ah, the American dream.
Yes, so at least the college freshman dream. Freshman.
So I played on PC as well, and I played, I think, about maybe halfway through the first game.
Yeah, looking it up, you played pretty much halfway through.
And I enjoyed it. I have an excuse. I had a lot of family medical emergencies to deal with, and then I got sick.
His dad in WoW died in Molten Core, and his mom in WoW got entombed in the Wailing Caverns.
No!
His sister became addicted to Baron's chat, and he had to properly set the price of light leather on the auction house. You can't sell a 20 stack for 10 silver. Sorry. What were you saying?
Chuck Norris is after me now, too. That's another fucking story. But yeah, I had some issues come up with IRL, so I didn't really get into much of the game. But for what I did play, I did like it, but I did have the same issue that you were talking about, Nate, where it was taking up my laptop. So I couldn't do other things at the same time, or I could watch like TV, but it's the kind of game where you kind of have to pay attention.
Because if you miss a line, like you can't. The conversations don't advance without you, but you have to read what they said, because like, oh, I've got this piece of evidence that when she talks about the car accident I'm going to present, I can't look away and just keep clicking through the dialogue and then wait for what's my response. I have to.
Right.
Yeah, I actually have a funny thing about that. When I actually accidentally switched the text to Japanese, thinking that there was going to be voice acting in this, so I had to make sure I didn't move like an inch of the stick. And switch it back.
Didn't I get you a copy of Microsoft Office that was in Portuguese once, and you guys had to spend half a day figuring out how to...
Mine is still in Portuguese. I just
mine is
learned
still in
enough
Portuguese as well.
to get by.
It's close to Spanish.
Portuguesa.
But yeah,
I hope we get a Portuguese listener now.
Just a little bit of background on the game is it came out in 2001 on Game Boy Advance in Japan. It was developed and published by Capcom, which it has that Capcom art style to it.
It says Capcom.
Even the sound effects were all like I played it muted most of the time because it's like you don't hear the speech. It's just dee 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 dee. But all the sound effects were very Capcom,
which is really annoying.
Oh yeah, I unmuted it once and I was like, yep, that's going right back to me.
There was no way to turn that off either, which I found really annoying.
I don't know. I feel like you needed that sometimes for the gameplay, to be quite honest. Sometimes
for what?
So sometimes, because like you said, it goes back to where you have to pay attention to the speech. When there's something dramatic or something that you should be paying attention to, the music will.
Yeah, no, it's
no. I didn't mean muting it. I wanted to turn off that whenever people talk.
Whenever somebody's talking, it's like a Morse code sound.
Beeping sound. Whenever there was text.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like in like the Street Fighter games.
Yeah.
The old, like,
very little talking in Street Fighter games. So this is
I didn't want that at all. I thought it was terrible. But 2001 on Game Boy Advance in Japan. In 2005, they released to US and Europe. It took them a long time to do localizations because the game was originally in Japanese.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So reading into it, and Jason and I just earlier today we were talking about this, where he was like, I can't tell what country this is supposed to be. There's people with US Southern accents, but everyone's
and
Japanese.
She's supposed to be native Japanese as well. Yeah.
So what happened was the game was originally set in Japan, and it was just openly said this is in Japan. But when they did the localizations, they had to. There was at one part in one of the games, one of the integral parts of the case has to do with time zones. So they had to pick like a real place. So they picked the U.S. just like, let's just make it the U.S. because it's selling really well there. When they released it here, it sold way better than I thought it was.
I think I know what episode. That's in the first one. Oh my God, what episode was that? I think it was, it had to do with, wasn't it like the first one with Harry Butts? Where like,
What?
It's
I played the wrong game.
What's his name? It's Larry.
It was something Butts.
It's something Butts.
Seymour. It's probably Seymour.
No, but like the detective kept on calling him Harry Butts. But anyways, it's because his girlfriend, one of the,
she was in a different,
the statue was a clock.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So the evidence that you needed was a statue, and everybody thought it was a statue.
She was a broad.
Yeah, but it happened. Yeah. Well, yeah, because she was a woman. But
oh my God.
Wait, I thought that's the joke you were making.
No.
Okay. No,
I'm not that clever.
This is for you, Jason. Here, I'll just give you some clapping.
Yeah, she was in international waters, and it was anyways.
Wait, was she a woman or international waters?
She had to. So they had to pick a place.
Yeah.
They said the U.S., and then that caused all kinds of problems later on. But one of the bigger problems they had in doing the localizations and changing it to English was almost all of the characters in the game in Japanese, their names were puns of some kind, and they kind of translated that over in
that makes
in
sense.
the
That
English
makes a
version
lot
as
of
well.
sense, yeah.
But a lot of the comedy in the game was puns that were in Japanese, and that just did not translate whatsoever.
Okay, that makes a little sense then, because there's a lot of like it's like I almost felt like it was a kiddie game, like because a lot of times like the way they were sweating and just the ridiculousness of it, I was like, this is obscene. Like it's not adding anything to the game for me.
Well, you know,
maybe it was puns and stuff I was missing, or maybe I just didn't.
It's that anime style where it's just over exaggerated, but the dialogue itself was like super heavy and like plays on words.
True.
Which,
That sounds exactly like
Detective Gumshoe.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
One of my favorite like stories of all time, manga, One Piece. There's a lot, like he throws in a crap ton of puns that just do not translate.
Well, you might be interested to know then that this game was converted into a manga in 2006,
Cool.
which I believe is still being produced. There was also a live action film released in 2012. I watched a trailer of it earlier. We have to watch this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you didn't watch the whole thing.
They don't have it dubbed in English, but they have it subbed in English. And I think that we have to watch it because just the trailer was fucking hilarious.
I wish we had the like power to like plug the trailer of it like right now.
One day.
The sub, so sub versus dub. So I watched Last Train to Busan a while back, and they just have people speaking in English over the video of the original Korean.
Right.
Is that subbed or is
That's
that
a
dubbed?
dub.
That's
Sub stands
dub.
for subtitle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I prefer subbed than dubbed.
Right.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
was
of
just
course,
letting it
Yeah.
be known. But on top of that,
There's
there was
also be forewarned saying that over the internet. You're starting fights.
Oh, that like I know. Well, it's supposed to be if you
weebs.
say you like subtitles, everyone in America hates you, and fuck them because subtitles are awesome.
anime. They made an anime in 2016. So this game like
Oh,
spawned
like that was super recent.
Yeah.
I
It
expected
spawned-
that'd be like way earlier.
a lot of things, and it's still like really big to this day.
true.
It's huge in Japan, and it was really big here as well. Like it was selling out when they released it here. They didn't expect it at all.
Wow.
You mispronounced huge.
Yeah. So they were expecting kind of like a soft, like a very quiet release in the US, and when they released it on the DS, it sold out almost immediately. So copies were selling for like $80-$90.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I'm wrong about not liking the game. But again, I think if I played it on a handheld, I would have liked it a lot more.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
and also
true.
I feel like if you had given it like also okay, so
Dude, I played like
this is
20 hours of this damn game.
Yeah, so I will say this. I think this is a type of game where you can't, even though they probably tried to market it as like jumping anywhere.
Yeah.
you kind of had to.
Yeah,
play the
there
previous ones.
there were a lot
You
of
really
references
did.
of like you could tell playing just the second one. Like I feel like I know her, and it's like
I
great,
only
so
played
this
like
is
the first. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I only played the first episode, and I realized, like, the first two episodes, like, man, like, I figured this was going to be, like, just a whole new thing, but, like, they're really, like, digging
It's
hard and
just a
referencing the
continuation.
old. It's definitely just it's just a new season.
But that's what they tried to do, though, wasn't it? Like, if I remember correctly, it's what is it like? I say I don't have anything up in front of me, but it was like when I was looking up the games online, trying to find, I can't figure out this one thing. It was like which series or like which season.
It
were
is
you in,
presented episodic.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it literally is, like, I don't know if it's different on the PC version, but on the Switch, it's like episode 1, episode 2.
Yeah, it's the same on PC.
Yeah.
But on top of that, and this is the thing, it's really unclear, even when you're trying to find the information online, which I was trying earlier, that there's a lot of spin-offs and there's a lot of sequels and prequels and all this and that, and it's hard to find the order that you're supposed to play them in. And as far as like story goes, with these types of games, me personally, I don't find the story all that compelling. I think that the gameplay itself is what the draw is, but it can be hard to find like the continuation of what this grand story is supposed to be. So like, especially like I played Apollo,
Creed.
was it Justice? Apollo Justice, had no idea that was the complete wrong game. Same exact gameplay, but there was no kind of indication that like, hey, this is not that guy from the meme that you've seen. Still have the spiky hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I will disagree with you on that part. I actually love the story. I finished, I guess, the 4th episode, which they make it seem like it's going to be the last one, and like I was actually kind of sad that it was going, like everything was ending, and I was like, the game actually made me invested with these characters, especially with the way everything went down in the first episode, or the first game, I guess, because I didn't think it was going to be like that. I always thought it was going to be like LA Noire. Obviously, like the gameplay was nothing like that. It was obviously somewhat. You just didn't have that doing, ding, and you're looking at your hand, looking at this item, and then trying to distinguish.
I don't know how many times I've come in and watched over your shoulder as you're examining a lamp from 15 different angles with a poorly rendered hand. I'm like, what the fuck game are you playing? Like LA Noire. I was like, heard that game was good. You're like, it's so good. I was like, lamp staring for hours. That sounds like a terrible game, right?
It's a great game.
Well,
anyway,
yeah, I don't doubt. I've heard that game is fucking amazing.
Maybe an episode here coming up sometime.
I'd love to do that one. But so going back to what you said about feeling for the characters, that's one of the things that it turned me off, but also it's I think an element of good game development and story writing was that, like in the first case on the first trial of the second game, and then again in the second trial, the things I hated about the game were the people who were the murderers. Like, they literally make them so goddamn annoying. Like, the guy who flicks his hair in the first trial of the second game. I don't know how that hair is rendered. This isn't a powerful laptop, but it was literally slowing my laptop down. What was supposed to be like, he would do it every time before he spoke, he'd flick his hair twice. And it was supposed to be like 2 half-second animations. It would take about 4 seconds for my computer to render through him slowly flicking his hair again, and then finally talking. But I hated him. I wanted to kill him, and he's the bad guy.
I think that says more about your laptop than it says about the game.
Yeah, no, my laptop was acting funky. I had to get that new charger.
Mighty Dell.
My Mighty Dell. I need to replace this Mighty Dell. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Jay was just asking Nate if he wanted a beer.
Yeah, he did it non-verbally
that
because
was.
he knows we're recording a podcast. I am a moron.
Yeah, I mean, you would never want to, like, sully the podcast by, like...
All right, where's the lighter?
You know what,
Oh my
motherfucker?
God.
You yelled at us for doing that
Yeah.
before, and now you just...
I know.
Well, because I had the wherewithal and the courtesy to preface it, if you will. I'll just be in the middle of saying something, I'll just hear something crack in the back, and you give me a face like, oops.
Listen, Nick. Let's preface off, okay? Let's just John Travolta the fuck right out of this part of the conversation and get back on the topic.
I will admit I already hit my
my
table that my mic is on twice.
Yeah, they know.
Now
They know.
Now I want a beer too.
There's no way for me to edit that out.
Where the hell
So
were we?
back to the game, yeah.
Back to the video game podcast that we're doing.
I don't know if you guys noticed it, and one of the things that, like, especially in the second trial of the second game, which was where I stopped playing, the things you take as evidence, like, there's a trunk. How far did you got to the investigation period? Right?
So I guess you got to the second day. I'm still on the first day.
I finished the whole second trial.
Yeah, okay, no. So I got to probably like I got to the first day of the trial. I saw that the trunk was there, but it wasn't taken into account evidence.
So
but
later,
it was pretty much okay. Before you start, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my theory of how that trial like ended.
Interesting. Hot take.
Yeah.
Coming up.
So I'm gonna go ahead and think that it was Pearl's mom that set up Maya. And I don't really know the whole situation. I think the younger sister of Mimi or whatever the hell her name was, the like ditzy redheaded chick.
Eenie Meenie.
Yeah.
Eenie Mo.
Yeah,
well, the older sister was.
There goes those Japanese puns.
Yeah, that just don't translate.
Yeah.
So you pretty much got it right. There's a twist you missed, but so yeah, Pearl, Maya's aunt. Pearl is Maya's cousin, who's 9. Maya is your assistant or something.
Yeah. So in the
this
first
young
one,
18-year-old girl you keep around your office as a 36-year-old attorney. Okay.
No, so basically in the first one we get introduced to her. She was our mentor's
younger sister. What is it?
Mia.
Yeah. And so these are all this whole family. They are the heirs, the bloodline of Amy. What's Maya's last name?
Faye.
Amy Faye, who was a channel. She could channel spirits, and so there's this urn in their place that's got Amy's ashes in it, and that her entrapped spirit keeps the bloodline having the power to channel the undead spirits. So the whole family is from this bloodline that can channel spirits from Amy Faye, and it's Pearl is the youngest. She's 9, daughter of Morgan, and those two are on a separate bloodline. They're the main family.
They're the cousins. Yeah, they're the separate bloodline of the main family, which is composed of Mia and Maya.
Mia is the older sister of Maya, and their mother was the sister of Morgan. And so basically, Morgan's sister left town because she had failed at a channeling, and so she left in disgrace. She's been gone 16 years. Once she's gone 20 years, she will no longer be the supreme, and that would shift to Mia, who's dead, so it shifts to Maya. But if Maya's in jail, it'll shift to Pearl.
And then those of you who have played the first game, you figure out why that is so about the... And that's why I love about the game, that because you do figure out all those intricacies of what happened in the first... Because you all deal with the trial of all of that.
So, but going back to the trial, Eenie Meenie was in the passenger seat of her older sister, Miney Meenie, during the accident, and she was severely burned.
Very badly
and
burned.
So she got to the hospital, and all she had was her picture.
She was still alive.
That she was going to use to get her driver's license. And she escaped from the right side of the car. Turns out, older sister had bought a British import sports car. The right side of the car is the driver's side in a British vehicle. Eenie Meenie is the younger sister. Meenie Meenie crashed, killed her younger sister. She was on the hook for the 14 deaths at the clinic she worked at, and her face was so fucked up. She said, "My sister's already dead. Rebuild me like this," and handed them her little sister's image. So they rebuilt her face. So the nurse that was supposedly killed and framed for those deaths and hated her boss was actually not the young... Eenie wasn't her younger sister, it was her. So she hid in that box behind the fan. Morgan arranged it all so that she got out. She drugged Maya. The whatever potion she drank was drugged, so she passed unconscious. They put her in the box, and then Eenie Meenie channeling... So Maya was supposed to be channeling Meenie Miney. Long story, but basically that picture you see of the murder, that's actually Eenie Meenie. But so the things you take in evidence, where we started with this, is that whole chest. He just picks it up and takes it. Then before you go back to your office or the courtroom or anything, you also take the urn with the ancient woman's ashes in it because it's been shattered. Rather than saying Amy, it now says I am, because Pearl broke it. But the idea is just like, as a lawyer, you're like in this friend's house just stealing, like, hey, your sacred 1,000-year-old ancient urn, I'll take that. Meanwhile, what are you doing with my clothing trunk on your back? No big deal, just let me walk out with this shit.
The thing is, I mean, he doesn't learn because that shit happens. He actually it comes back to bite him in the ass in the first game. I keep wanting to say movie and shit because like you said, it's a visual novel.
So I think that this game is the most accurate representation of the legal system ever fucking made. These people are coming in with just illegally obtained evidence, hiding it from the prosecution. Just sorry. We're sick, y'all. We're very sick. I'm sorry.
As we crack open beers and...
Please make sure some of this hacking cough gets into the outtakes.
Oh no, this is going in the release. Oh, my man.
Wonderful.
Yes,
this game is a very accurate representation of the legal system. Like in the first trial that I played, once I had proved the innocence of my client, I still had to go back for day 2 and find the murderer. It's like, no, I just proved to you she couldn't have killed him. Oh, you're right, she couldn't have killed him. But we don't have a murderer, so she's guilty. It's like, what? You had to go steps further and find the actual murderer of every case. And it's like...
Even better is when they're like, well, they're not guilty, but you, lawyer, you're guilty. What? Now you're on trial tomorrow.
You broke in to steal evidence to defend your client, so now you're going to go down for their murder. It's like, well, what?
It's part of me thinks it should be that way.
It's pretty accurate for a Klingon legal system.
Nah, they don't kill anybody.
The Klingons? Oh, the game.
There was I don't know, I guess this was like a teen rated game.
Who knows? It would be Japan. It could be anybody.
Yeah, the titties that were out.
But whatever. This was a pretty murder. This is this was not for kids.
All right, I will say this. In the Apollo Justice spin-off game that I played, I thought it was a kid's game too, and I bought it thinking it was Phoenix Wright because I had seen him in memes and stuff, and I was like, that looks like it might be fun. And in the first trial you're in, one of the pieces of evidence is like a stolen pair of panties. Mm-hmm. So
Japan.
Speaking of Japan,
yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. So with Japan, you never know.
Speaking of, do we have any Japan listeners? I'm sorry.
I really thought you were gonna ask if we had any panties.
Also, Japanese listeners.
Nippon?
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry.
Nippon. Yeah.
Nippon.
No, just on you. We're good to go. They're an ethnic minority in the Japanese islands that have been largely pushed aside.
Oh, on you.
Yeah.
On you.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
That's Nate.
Yeah, random.
Speaking of Japanese puns that don't translate.
So we should just have like Nate puns that don't translate.
You mean just Nate puns?
Just
yeah.
Nateisms.
So, what was your favorite part of the game, Daniel?
I think my favorite part of the game is how it's kind of like LA Noire, where you have to use your wits and kind of see what people are saying and pay attention to what's going on. But it's not quite as... They telegraph it too much in this game to where you can obviously see what people... When they're lying, because they have the big anime beads of sweat, and they start acting insane. You're like, well, obviously they're lying, but I already knew it, so it's kind of redundant. But I think it is kind of fun. It's a little bit more wordplay than it was in, like, LA Noire. Mm-hmm. Where you have to, like, you find the contradictions in what people are saying and trying to pick the right type of evidence at the right time.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you guys also had the same thing, and I think that you touched on it, Nate, where you know this piece of evidence is the type that's going to sink them, but you have to wait for the right testimony, and then, you know, you catch them lying with the press, and then they come back with a new testimony, and it's like, maybe it'll be in here.
That was a kicker in the first, kind of like the first trial is kind of like a learning trial. And, like, it was very obvious who had done it and how, but just learning how to convey that information, like waiting for them to say the right statements, to do a little, press each button, but don't press button A unless there's a blue light on.
Learning to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
And that goes to my thing, where is that I don't think this really is a type of game where you can just jump into any each one. You really need to start with the first one, because in the first one, because you're starting off as a amateur attorney and you're building your way up, so it really sets you up that way to puts like the staples
trial
of this game, and then you pretty much know, because like the problems that you were having with the first one, I didn't have at all, because I knew how to, like, I knew when to press, because I played this dang game for like 5 episodes.
Well, learning the mechanic of the game it took the first trial, but that whole first trial, Maya's there with you, and she's like, it literally, like, it won't let you fail. She keeps saying, like, you have to do something here. And like, I listened to this witness's testimony like 4 times before I realized, like, oh, she means, like, it's restarting this segment, and I have to find something to question here. But yeah, once you get past the learning of it, I think still play them in order, because there was a lot in the second game that, like, it was like, this is clearly a reference to the other game that I'm not catching.
Yeah, legit.
And then your least favorite?
My least favorite. I guess it's along the same vein, to where I didn't like so much how I liked and didn't like, to where at the beginning they show you the murder basically at the beginning of the thing, but it's always, you know, that it's never that simple.
Yeah.
But I think that it was kind of annoying just how convoluted each case was, to where there was like 30 twists and turns before you got to the end, which kind of takes the fun out of being able to, like, at the start of it, be like, guess and theorize, like, what happened, because something crazy will happen where it's like, all right, I think this guy, you know, stole this guy's face and made a mask of it, and then dressed himself up as that and did the murder, and that's how it was. Instead, it's like, oh, this guy killed this guy, and then he flew to Argentina and found his long-lost wife and got his fingerprints from her, and then a flying monkey came down and left his fingerprints there, and it's like...
Well, that's a huge exaggeration.
I believe that is slight hyperbole, but...
Yes, okay, obviously. I just mean they put in so many twists and turns that it makes it impossible to ever come close to guessing how the case is going to end from the beginning.
See, he wouldn't...
To me, takes the fun out of it a little bit.
He wouldn't have believed us if he had played the second one with the trial of the Argentinian monkey and the wife. Yeah.
See, I didn't get far enough. That's it.
How about you, Jay?
Yeah, so I guess my favorite parts are basically the same thing. Just to add on to as well is the story, because I completed the entire first game, made me, like, not necessarily love the characters. I guess it would be just more like just tolerate them more. Well, I mean, there was a lot of characters that I actually liked. I will say there were parts where I actually did, like, fail. I actually lost a case a couple of times where just, like, because I couldn't read this person, or I couldn't figure out what evidence I needed to use.
I've got a quick question. When you fail a case, do you still continue on the game?
No, you have to start from the beginning.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, that's why it's.
You have to start the trial from the beginning.
Yeah, it's not on rails. Like, you're fucked because it's on a rail. No, it just sets you a little bit further back and says, all right, you got to you got to fix this.
Yeah,
part
it's like I said before, it's like LA Noire. It just like flipped. It's more important the trial than the actual investigation. The investigation is the thing that's on the rails. The trial is not.
Right.
And that's what I loved about it. That's what like kept me on my toes, because even though I was going into it thinking I wanted an LA Noire style game, it just gave me something that was like it, but like just enough different that I was really invested into it. The whole like sweating anime beats and shit, I obviously can look past because I do watch anime.
Yeah, you're used to it.
Exactly.
That was
I can look
jarring
past
for me.
it. I will say, going back to the second game, the reason why I knew the aunt was in on it, it goes back to because of like watching animes and like specifically One Piece. I can, from reading that, I can like catch on to like some Japanese puns that are like kind of like hidden from the mainstream viewers and whatnot.
base.
Exactly. So I mean, even this was, it's not even mainstream. Her name was Morgan, but their last name's Faye. Morgan Le Fay.
Why do I know that name?
Camelot. That's like the evil sorceress and fucking Arthur.
Sure.
Yeah, Morgan Le Fay. So
Again, that was probably changed for an English audience.
No,
It was
but
probably something else in Japan.
that's still definitely a blatent pun right there,
But that's-
making
yeah.
that like
Well,
that's
what I was saying. They changed them for an English audience. It was not going to be her name in Japan.
I mean, okay,
It was not.
Maybe not, but like, I mean, it's an obvious like trigger to be like, all right, come on.
Her name was-
Morgan Fay, Morgan Le
Well, no,
Fay.
all their names were puns. What I meant is they had Japanese names that we would have understood. So they changed Morgan. Morgan Fay was not Morgan Fay in Japan.
No, of course not. But Morgan Fay, I still think was an intentional like thing.
Of
to
course,
bring-
they all were.
Yeah. But that was the reason. But like again, that was the reason why I thought of it. I was like, well, Morgan Fay. At least that was like my initial. I was like, well, for some reason in my friggin' weird mind, I thought I was like, well, I know of Morgan Le Fay, but only not even from like actual just King Arthur. It's actually from like DC and shit like that. But I'm not even gonna go into that. And it was just like, all right,
Let's
Morgan
not-
Le Fay. Yeah.
She was probably in the Japanese version an apocryphal she-witch in folklore.
We can
Just
look it up.
probably, yeah.
I'm not going to, but one of y'all
Yeah.
can.
I mean, no, we could. We have the ability.
we have the
So they
power.
probably just made her like an equivalent. In
Yeah, they
name,
just
stature.
they
Yeah,
chose
yeah.
they chose a name that would be more known by a European audience.
Yeah, there was one guy. It was Brian something. I can't remember. I didn't write his name down. That did the localizations for.
I thought you meant in the game. I was like, what? There was one guy in the game named Brian something.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
oh,
don't remember
okay.
any
one
guy
guy
named
and his
Brian.
name was Phoenix Wright.
Ace attorney at law and order.
So would you guys play this game if it was Harvey Birdman, attorney?
Yes, 100%. Every second of my life.
Well, I still haven't gotten to my least favorite part.
But would you play it if it was Harvey Birdman, attorney at law?
Of course.
Was your least favorite part that it wasn't Harvey Birdman, attorney at law? 'Cause
mean,
that was
pretty-
my least favorite part.
Pretty much, I guess. I guess my least favorite part is definitely, there was parts where I just felt like, I like during the investigation where I was like, I actually like I can't fuck up this part. I have to like keep going and actually find this thing.
What do you mean?
Like when you're going through different areas and you have to find a piece of evidence or talk to a specific person, it makes you kind of have to do that. You can still, like what Nate said,
Yeah.
you can still walk through different areas.
I could go-
but you still have to go into the specific area to progress the actual
I gotcha.
story to get to the.
And certain things had to be triggered by other actions. So, like, to find Pearls, who's the little girl in the LeFay household. Is it LeFay? No, in the Fay household. In King Arthur's court. A lot.
It's a silly place.
Yes. You have to go into the side room and talk to this person. Like, you have to go to talk to Eenie Meenie, who's the worst, fucking most annoying character to talk to. You have to talk to her and then leave to bump into Pearls. And Pearls has some important information. So, like, you don't not only have to go to where she is, because she moves around. They all move around during different times of the day. You have to go into this other room first and then go back to where you were to bump into her. Well, she wouldn't tell me the information. Like, clearly I screwed that up. So I went in and out of these two rooms like 9 damn times. Looked up a walkthrough. This is important. She'll tell you tomorrow. God damn it! Like, why did I spend all this time going back in? Because you're trying to get her. She's talking to you. Every time she sees you, she goes eek and runs away. And now she's talking to you, and like, clearly you know something. And then every time you bring up the murder, she goes, eek, and runs away. So I literally went in and out of the side room to the winding way 7 times to try every possible outcome. I was like, there's no way to get her to talk. And I looked it up online. It's like, after the first day of the trial, you'll have something. No, you had to go to the detention center, and Maya gives you a little thing to give to Pearl. So, but I had to go out of the room, see her, then go talk to Maya, then come back. And this is all in one investigation day. It was literally just kind of like some of the WoW quests. Like, go over there and give me the thing.
So I guess that's your least favorite. What's your favorite part about it, Nate?
That wasn't necessarily my least favorite. That was the part that made me feel like it's on rails, which is good and bad, because I initially went in with some stress. Like, what if I miss a piece of evidence and I have to play for an hour to get to the trial to realize I've missed a piece of evidence? It doesn't let you, which is a pro and a con. Like, it does kind of break the flow of the game. But like in LA Noire, you could miss evidence, right? I never played it.
Yeah, you could, and then you're just
fucked.
You fucked. In LA Noire, you can fail a case, and now you've just failed that case, and now you got to go on.
Yeah, exactly. And that this game was it's very much friggin' video novel is the perfect term for it, because visual novel, because you can't turn the page until you finished what you're on. Like, you have to finish that page, and it is telling you a story. It's an interactive story. It's like who's the game manufacturer that went under recently? They made a bunch of critical Telltale. Very much not at all like Telltale, but similar to that style where you have to. This is the story we're writing for you. What you got?
There actually was a recent thing where Telltale is coming back I
saw that
via like different people.
Oh yeah,
but
that was bound to happen because Telltale put out how many award-winning games back to back to back to back?
I might be the minority here. I hated Telltale games.
I love the Walking Dead one. That's the only one I did.
They weren't games to me.
They aren't games, and so I played one on the computer, and I was like, "This is garbage." And then I was sitting in an airport somewhere with my Kindle Fire, and I was like, "I own this, and this is a different one." And I bought it, and it was like, this is a great way to kill 3 hours while I'm traveling. It's interactive. It's slow enough that I can literally just turn the screen off and go about what I'm doing and then pick it back up. It's not a game, though. It's a visual novel.
You know, that makes complete sense, because I didn't really have a good time playing this game when I wasn't isolated on a plane or somewhere where I had to distract myself.
I feel like it's a handheld or tablet type of game where and so like I guess my least favorite part was threefold. What I said a minute ago that I completely forgot. The aspect that I was playing on a laptop, and B, the anime sweats. Because your character, it was like watching WWE when I was a kid. Your character sweats, and he's like, oh my god, it's going so badly. So you put together 3 pieces of evidence, you point, for this instance, you get eeny meeny, you get the whole court to recognize, or you get the whole court to think eeny meeny's the killer, and that Morgan helped her, and then suddenly she's calm and you're sweating, and it's like, I just proved in a court of law that my client didn't do it, that this person did it, and that person helped her. It's all set up. This court case should be over, but now I'm sweating, and the judge is like, well, regardless of what just happened, we're going to have to murder this bitch who's your client because you haven't solved the case correctly. You hadn't yet determined that it wasn't eeny meeny, it was her sister living her life. And like, that's cool. That's an awesome storytelling element. But in a court case, it really aggravated me because that's so foreign to my understanding of, in a court of law, reasonable doubt, and the burden of proof is on the prosecution to say Maya Fey did it.
And I wonder, this is just me thinking, I wonder if the court system is different in Japan to where it would seem more natural to a Japanese player because it was a Japanese game first.
I wondered that the whole time. Yeah.
Or if it's just because it's just a gameplay element.
Yeah.
And it could be a mixture of the two. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many times in the game, that's what I said was one of my least favorite parts.
I also feel like somebody really should have looked that up.
Yeah. Don't look at me when you say that.
The guy who
didn't play the game,
who does most of the research. I mean, so I'm going to try to make this sentence as aggravating as possible. Irregardless of what legal system we're pointed at, none of this counts as a court of law, because when the trial started, it doesn't go doink doink.
I will hold you in contempt, sir.
I'll hold you and be content, sir.
Objection!
Yes? What is your objection?
Well, I'm going to hold on for a minute because I'm watching the baseball game and I'll come back to you in 10 minutes.
But there are 5 screens in this room and they're all off minus the one with the recording on it.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know what the hell's going on right now. My favorite part of the game. Wow. There was a lot, like what you said about, like, you do fall in love with the characters, and I think it's part because the characters you're meant to fall in love with, the ones you're supposed to defend, are relatable and believable, and the characters that you're not supposed to like, it's a very over the top. It's and maybe not all anime style. Like, I don't think Cowboy Bebop didn't have this, but Cowboy Bebop stands apart in my mind from anime. I don't watch a ton of it, but it did have a very Yeah, like anime styling, where it's very obvious who the bad guy is when you're getting close to something they've done, the sweating, the hat chews. But what threw me was your character's sweating as well, but he sweats every 4 minutes. Like I was reading, like I got stuck, so I pulled up a walkthrough, and it's like, you have to do this. And so when I was doing it, it's like, press. So the person on the stand gives some statement, and you press them to get more information. And after you press, your guy starts sweating because she's like, "You're so stupid," or whoever's on the stand is like, "You're so stupid." And you've got the option to press further, and it's like, "Well, I'm on a bad path. She's so confident, and I'm sweating." But no, I wasn't on a bad path. I needed to keep pressing, and
It's bad cues.
and it's because the cues are so over the top, and there's only 2 or 3
Right.
normal. There are 4 normal, confident. You're catching him in a lie, and
He slams his hands on the table.
I did love the way his hands hit the table, and it's like dun dun.
That is one thing that did throw me off going in, because like you, I only knew of the memes of him beforehand, and coming into him, seeing him sweat and seeing him doing all this thing, I was like, that like kind of threw me off, because I always thought he was just gonna be like this like over the top confident anime character, not like kind of this like flappable person.
Yeah, he's got his tail between his legs the entire time.
Yeah,
all
I
the
did
time.
not see
Also,
that coming. I did not see
The
that
prosecutor
coming.
in the second case of the second game is openly whipping everyone in the courtroom with a whip, including the judge
yeah,
across the face.
I went through that today.
Yeah, the judge is like, "Ma'am, I think you need to let Phoenix ask his question," and she whips the judge in the face and says no, and he's like, "I guess you're right." And you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, Dan and I are walking to get beer. We're walking back, and I'm like, another aspect of why it's awesome playing this game on this. So I'm lying in bed. I don't want to go anywhere, but I want beer.
This is today. This is about 2 hours.
I
ago.
thought he
this
was
is today.
describing his lifestyle.
And you know, Dan comes home and he's like, "Hey," and I tell him, I was like, "Hey, we need beer," and he's like, "All right, well, he's come on." I was like, "No, I don't. I'm here. I'm laying it out." He's like, "I don't want to go by myself." I was like, "All right, well, but I'm playing the game we're supposed to be talking
that
about."
you haven't played.
And he's like,
should have guilted him harder. You got to
You're-
press in that situation.
Dude, he did.
like,
He started sweating
"You're on a
fucking
mobile
blood.
device right now. You can walk into this." I was like, "Oh yeah." And so like we're walking back, and all of a sudden I'm playing this game, and Von Karma whips the judge right in the face. And I was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?"
You didn't get to the end of that trial, but before the verdict is read, and after you put in your final thing, and the judge is like reading out, Von Karma whips you unconscious. She just whip, and your guy's like, "Ow, ow, ow, ow," and it just runs for like 8 lines of "ow, ow, 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 ow" text, and then he just disappears, and the judge goes, "Well, while we're waiting for Phoenix to regain consciousness, I guess
Case
I'll read
closed.
this verdict." Literally, like, this is assault, people. I don't know. I presume that assault is still a thing in Japan.
Hey man, Japan's a hell of a fucking place.
Yeah. My favorite thing about the game, though, was the same as the thing I didn't like. It is the anime styling. Like when you hit objection and he's pointing his finger and he turns his face in profile, especially on the places, which I'd say about 2/3 of it I was able to do on my own, and about 1/3 of it I had to look up walkthroughs as to when I needed to present this evidence, or because I got tired of failing cases. But when you natively just figure it out to put it in, and you hit that objection button, he does this like fucking badass superhero pose, and it's not over the top. He's just pointing at the witness, and I fucking felt like a badass. Like I literally,
yeah.
I was playing one day and Kelly was asleep, and like I got up and pointed at the wall and was like, "Yeah," and like walked away from my computer. And Kelly was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, you're awake and behind me." Shit. But
Objection?
objectionable content.
Yeah, no, I thought was a really I did feel that as well. When like you got him, and he finally like sets his hands down and like fucking
Oh yeah, dun dun. Yeah.
and points, and you're like, yes, I got this.
This is
finally.
not the Law and Order dun dun. When he sets his hands down, he like bounces them twice on the table. Yeah, it's
Yeah, my favorite thing was in the first one, you get like going along the convoluted shit. You get like the chief of police roped into some trial, and he's like dirty, and you'll want to get him, but it drags out, but it works because you're gonna get him. And when you finally do, and you wait for it, when you finally end the trial, they do that like explosion face or whatever. Where
Right.
they're like,
The O face,
they just,
yeah.
they just lose their shit. That NL face.
an elf face.
What the hell? Wait, no.
The anal face.
Like, I need to know what an NL face is.
Well, people
Lamb.
will know.
No,
It's the
I
Nate
want to
Lamb
know.
face. Yeah, what are you
It
talking?
doesn't matter. It's from One Piece. Again,
Okay.
Oh,
I
it's from One Piece.
reference.
All right,
there you go.
never mind.
Yeah. Anyways, it's like playing NHL and scoring a goal.
Oh, all right, I understand that one.
Yeah. It's just like that. Yeah.
So I want to broach a subject, and I'd like you guys to...
Broach a subject?
Subject, yes. It's a son of a bitch ject. I am son of a bitch ject. Subject. One of the things I won't say I didn't like, but it's a styling that has always been around in gaming as a whole. Is like, it's a female character, let's make her strong. Okay, she needs a D cup. And like that shit. Yeah. So I didn't play the first game. Jason, you did. In the second game, Mia, the older sister of Maya, is being channeled through
Maya.
Well, Maya and who's a little girl.
So I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
They channeled her as well.
Yeah. So
that's
when in the story, when one of these members of the Fae family channels a ghost, they take on the physical appearance of the ghost and like their entire body. So Maya grows taller and gets much more buxom. And like in the murder photograph, yeah, shut up. I can't think of a polite way to say she get them big old titties.
Tig open.
So you walk in and it's like, this is the murder photograph, and she's wearing I guess it was not a gi, but like a kimono, and she's just a normal person, like normal proportions. And then in the murder photo, she's covered in blood and like just titties everywhere. And then later, her older sister channels her in the detention center, and literally like top, center, and under boob are all just, and it's like, that's not. It was the older sister like in court like that in the first game, and then in the courtroom in the second trial, the little girl Pearls, who's 9, channels her, and you turn to the right, and suddenly it's not Pearls, the 9-year-old sitting next to you, it's Mia, the buxom older sister, in Pearls clothing, and you're like, Mia? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, are you being channeled through Pearls? And she goes, yeah, I told Pearls I needed to be here for you. How are you? And she goes, the clothes are a little tight. And it's like, no shit. Like, but it's completely unneeded, where it's just like huge breasts and like, oh, what the hell? Come on, Japan.
The thing is it's strange, but I'm not mad about it, and not because I'm a fucking perv, but I come to expect it from that sort of.
And I agree. It didn't surprise me.
It's an art style,
that dead or alive type shit.
But that's like, that is something that like I'd love to see if I know that we are seeing properly kind of a female empowerment in game design now, where we're not having the dead or alive art style anymore. Will that go in future games of the series? Will that translate over to Japan, or is that going to stick with the anime style?
I doubt it. I don't think that this is just me talking out of my ass. I don't think Japan is having the same kind of movement that the US and Europe and other places are having.
From my understanding, Japan's a more conservative culture.
Well, they are, and that's why this is coming out in their art. Mm-hmm. But I think that is more. It's more accepted in Japan as an art style rather than an objectification.
Yeah.
Which and I think there is a disconnect between here's an art style and then here's real life.
And this game style, the art style is, it looks like it could be drawn with pen and paper, whereas Dead or Alive was very obviously trying to be a facsimile.
Somebody spent a lot of time modeling the boob jiggle.
It's also the question of like, yeah, she's dressed that way, but then she's also his boss.
Yeah,
you know, so like she is in power, like a place of power, but then she's also dressing that way. So it's like, where the fuck is the ratio?
He too. Sorry.
Oh no! No!
I like the delayed catch of that. Like, no. Then the laughter, like, oh, I get it now.
All right. So, final thoughts on the game, Nate.
I would. If you have a long flight, you got a Game Boy or a Switch and something that will stay powered long enough to play it, pick it up. If you have a tablet and that's where you play your games and you don't play on a computer, or you're not like the COD guy, is COD still thing? Can you still say COD instead of Call of Duty? Whatever. If you want a fun, casual game that's kind of a mental stimulator, this is it. I wouldn't recommend it on a computer because it isn't, at least for me.
Personally.
Yeah. I, on a computer, play much more in-depth video games that suck me in, and this one didn't on a computer, but on a handheld, I really think this would have been like, hell yeah, let's do this. Like, had I played it on my iPad, if it's available, or if I had my iPad functioning.
It is,
I don't think it
I think a version of it is. I saw it when I was looking it up.
There's no reason it couldn't be, because all you need is touchscreen, and the only limitation would be processor power for hair flips.
It could be. I just I didn't see it on Wikipedia. Could be. Don't think so.
Yeah. But I mean, recommend it. Tentative recommendation, 3 out of 5. Like, it's a good game, but situationally.
Jay?
Oh man, I thought you were gonna do you first.
I mean, I can do me first. I thought it was pretty good for what I played of it. But I agree 100% with you, Nate. I think that I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more when I was a captive audience, per se, on an airplane or waiting to do something else.
You should have handed it out in yeah, this joke's going nowhere good. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop.
All right. Very seasoned comedian. You're the funniest of all three of us, and this is what you got? This is what you got.
They should have handed it out in Auschwitz.
Oh. Because of the captive audience.
Yeah.
God, you are so going to hell.
I've accepted that a lot.
That's good. I liked it, though.
Yeah, well, that's all right. So, like, if you're not doing anything else, I think it's great. I don't know if that's, like, a bad thing to say about a game.
It's very similar to the Telltale games.
The thing is, though, about the Telltale games, I wouldn't play those even if I wasn't doing anything else. I would play this one. I wouldn't elect to play this again on my own time.
Yeah,
if we weren't doing a podcast about it, I probably wouldn't. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I probably wouldn't play it on my own. There's our last beer of the podcast.
I just love that. Like, you don't even wait for a moment of silence when he candidated it out. You just lean over and look shameful and like do it beneath your chair. But we all still hear it. Every one of them still. Your look of shame
because
did not
in
mitigate
my
the sound.
mind,
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to hear it if I do. Just this a wee bit.
I want to
not close.
I
want to
set it in stone that we do a video recording of this podcast one day in this room so that everyone can see what you and I see, where he starts making the face long before he opens the beer, slowly leans over, and we know he's going to do it, and he doesn't wait for a stop, and we can't tell him to stop. All he has to do is wait for one of us to stop talking.
I gave him the eyes, telling you don't do it.
I did too. I was looking at him like, just wait, like.
I literally didn't look. I was looking at you, but wasn't looking
it's hard
at
to,
any of
you.
you.
We're looking through
the
me.
The shame in his eyes prevented the light bouncing off your face from coming in.
So, Jay. Final thoughts.
Oh.
You had plenty of time. You got a beer. You had plenty of time to think about it.
Oh,
what do you think?
This was one of my favorite games of the year. I will say that.
No shit.
It definitely. Oh hell yeah! That I've played this year, definitely. Of the podcast, probably. Honestly,
Better than KOTOR?
Well, no.
Whoa! Let's back up a little bit.
I meant that I've played thus. I've played KOTOR since I was a child. There's no way that's ever going to beat that. I mean, like in
Better than Vampire.
that a game that I haven't played. Yeah, honestly, just because of honestly, I will say I played the PlayStation 4. Which one's the one that's out now? PlayStation 4.
I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8.
No, it's not
somewhere.
It's PlayStation 4.
PlayStation
4. I played the X-Bone, and I've played the Switch, which is like basically the newest console that is basically over now. This gen is about to be done.
Yeah, they're getting ready for the next one.
Switch, Nintendo took it away. I will say that. Even like I'm sure X-Bone and PlayStation, or definitely PlayStation, had better games, God of War, all that shit. But just the enjoyment that I've had
picking it up and being able to walk around with it,
playing with the Switch, and just doubly so working with this game because of what you guys said, and I was actually the only one be able to just pick it up and play wherever the fuck I was. I just loved it.
Yeah.
I love the Switch, and I'll just say 10 objections out of 10.
Nice.
Hold it!
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah, that's really loud.
He pointed at me really hard.
The objection is the point. The hold it isn't pointing, right? He points when he says objection.
I mean,
does them both.
It worked.
Yeah. So
I could slam on this table, but I mean, I've done that enough this podcast.
I said slam. So I think we're kind of all in agreement that if it's on a mobile platform, it's a really worthwhile purchase. Like,
oh hell yeah, dude! Hell yeah.
So Switch users out there, unite.
All right. So our next game, boys. We all
were playing Game Boys.
Didn't the start on the Game Boy?
We all no. Yes, the Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
SP.
So the next one, we're going to be doing Homeworld. I don't know if anyone here has ever played Homeworld. Nate and myself really love it.
Yeah.
Jason,
I know it as the cell phone game.
Jason used to watch me play it. And
As
not because I watched it I played it on a cell phone. Because
a thing.
The mothership in Homeworld 1 looks like an old school Nokia cell phone. Don't be.
As a wee lad, I used to watch him play the game.
Papa, may I play the game?
This is before or after the ghost in your house attacked Brandon.
That's another story. Anyways, Homeworld. So what we decided was we're going to play Homeworld, Homeworld 2, and Homeworld Deserts of Karak. So Homeworld is a game that came out, I don't remember what year it was, but it was quite a while ago.
3? No, it wasn't that far back.
Can't be that, yeah.
Let me keep talking.
Either way, It came out a while ago, but they came out with a remastered version a couple of years ago on Steam. So Homeworld 1 and 2 are included in a bundle, and you can get it on Steam for $34.99, and that's and on Good Old Games, $34.99. That'll include 1 and 2. Deserts of Karak you can get also on Steam. I don't know what the price is just for that, but there is a bundle on Steam where you'll get Homeworld 1, 2, and Deserts of Karak for $63.73. Yep. And on Good Old Games, you'll get Homeworld 1, 2, Deserts of Karak, and the kind of expansion to Homeworld 1 called, what was it called, Nate?
Oh, I don't remember. They renamed it. It used to be called Cataclysm, but then when WoW Cataclysm
Emergence.
came out, Emergence, yeah.
It used to be called Cataclysm, now it's called Emergence. You can get the bundle of all of them for $63.73 on Steam, or $97?
It was 93 something, yeah, it's all bundled.
Anyways, all of us are going to play one of them. So I'm going to play Homeworld 2, Jason's going to play Homeworld 1, Nate's going to play Homeworld Deserts of Karak. You guys don't have to play all three, obviously. If you want to, more power to you. But we're just going with this whole franchise, basically, for this next one. Trying something a little bit new. We'll see how it works out.
And also, we're doing this because Homeworld 3 was just announced.
Yeah. That's right.
Homeworld
Homeworld 3 will be coming out at some point in the future. So if you want to get on that, it is a great game. I've played 1 and 2. Nate's played all of them. Jason's going to be a virgin. We're popping his fucking Homeworld cherry on this one, so it should
with
be a good one.
With a space laser.
I didn't like that at all.
You won't.
Yeah, it's gonna burn. Jay, are you going to play the remastered version of 1 or the original?
They don't have original for purchase, so it's going to be the remastered.
The remastered collection, I believe, comes with the... Maybe... Wait, we didn't look that up.
I would suggest he plays the remastered version.
I'm going to play if they give me an option, I'm just going to play the remastered.
If I can find an original of the original, I might go back and try and put some time in on it.
Might as well.
What the hell would it...
Play as much or as little as you want. We're going to be talking about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So... hit us up on our socials. You can get us at commandcenter.games. That's our website. Our buddy Nick runs it. It's fucking awesome. If you want to hit us on Twitter, it's at commandcntr. Instagram is going to be Command Center Podcast, and our Gmail is going to be commandcenterpodcast@gmail.com. Please write us. Tell us what games you want us to play. Give us some feedback. Tell us how awful or great we are. We really love to hear from you guys. And if you have something cool to say, maybe we'll put you on the air. Our next episode is going to be out on October 25th, last Friday of the month. So make sure you play the next games we're going to be playing. Homeworld, hit it up. And guys, say your goodbyes.
See ya.
You forgot to mention that if you'd like to come visit us in person, our address is 123 Fake Street, Springfield State Soda, United States of America.
Springfield State Soda?
See, I feel like you already gave it too much away. We're not in America. We're in Antarctica.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Command Center, your video game book camp.
Claim! Book claim!
I was thinking it. I was like,
don't say
Gabagool. Don't say Gabagool.
I don't need to interrupt you. I can just remind you about that every intro, and then you'll do it. God, I wish I had another cough drop to chew on.